and who is the chair of the UDA Founders Association. So you tell us that, the concept of UDA was we need to change this country. We need to serve the people. We need to get to a position where we convince more and more people to elect our candidates so that we can run this country better. Do you think UDA is still living up to the dream of the founders 5 years ago?
Now that we have taken back the party to the people, we started as people-centered party. We are still, and we will continue to revamp and to live to the dreams and aspirations of Kenyans.
Which are?
What are those?
UDA was founded on a philosophy of empowering mwananchi, on a philosophy and a slogan of kazi ni kazi, respecting every hustle. And I strongly believe that those are still our aspiration as a political party, now a ruling party. We need to continuously call ourselves to account on those objectives of that political party called UDA, so that we can continue to improve the lives and the livelihood of Kenyans. Yes.
Do you believe yourselves to be democratic?
Yes, we are democratic.
And what does democracy mean?
I will go directly to Abraham Lincoln's statement. Having a government formed by the people, for the people, and it's majorly centered on people's ideas, people's aspirations, and people's the idea is about centering everything.
People-centered.
Yes.
So even decisions of the party are supposed to be emanating from the people, the
Yes.
members of the party.
The members of the party.
Right?
Yes.
That even as we talk about anything, any direction that the party takes, it's the members who will do this,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the most visible way for the party's members to do it is using a national delegates conference, for example, right? Where members are speaking through their delegates and saying, this is the direction we are taking. UDA, has it ever held a national delegates conference? Has UDA ever held an election?
Before these issues to do with Cleophas Malala, the NEC had, through its function, had directed the National Elections Board of UDA under the chairmanship of Engineer Mwaura to do grassroots elections, which will culminate to the National Delegates Conference, where real elected officials of the party will be elected and pronounced and given the mandate to run the party. But when NEB started doing its work, our former interim Secretary General started concocting reasons and creating factions within the party to hijack the grassroots elections. That's the need now. That's among the many reasons for the removal of Cleophas Malala.
So now that he's been removed, will those issues be sorted out, or have they already been
the issues have already been sorted out. Soon, the grassroots elections will go on as planned. Even there are areas that grassroots elections had already happened. So everything will go back to where we had planned as a party.
Okay.
Doing the grassroots elections, having elected officials in place.
Okay. Now, the party, as having been originally choreographed, what would you say? Because you said it's a party of the people, it's people, grassroots, all of this. and it's people-centered. So what are some things that the party started doing that you now see with the new Secretary General, who clearly the previous one, from what you are saying, was an impediment to progress? Now, with a new person there, what are these things that are going to be done, championed, choreographed, birthed by UDA in this current political dispensation that we will be able to see and say, okay, yes, clearly this was not working before? What will we see? Or what had we seen before? And what will we now see in the future?
One, since UDA is on a transition clause where we have interim officials, first thing first, we are looking and we are expecting the current interim Secretary General, in conjunction with the all party organs and the party organ that is given the mandate to run the grassroots election or the party election, to move with speed, and we have the grassroots elections, so that we can have from the grassroots, we can have elected party official with fresh mandate from the party members.
To do what?
Is, to do the functions of the party. First, as what I'm basically saying is this: the agenda on the table for the new interim Secretary General is to ensure we have elected party official, the first agenda. Two, to continue with the functions of the party, to continue mobilizing, to continue spreading the gospel of UDA and registering more members. Three, being a ruling party, we need to be accountable to ourselves and ensure that the promises that we made to Mwananchi and were voted in are achieved.
What are some of those? Give me two.
Promises or promises?
The promises, the promises that have even been said before we look at the one. That's part two. Part two of the question
Promises
is
made.
Promises made. That's part 1A. Promises achieved is 1B. Let's start there. What are some of just two?
Yes. When we were moving around the country in 2022, looking for the mandate of the people, UDA promised Kenyans that we will do something different from our predecessor. And that was first to ensure that we form a political party that is devoid of conmanship, of blackmail, and politics of one man, one show.
Okay.
That was our first agenda.
That was the first promise. Okay.
Not promise, but our first agenda as a political party. Now, our agenda number two was that if we form government the way we were formed, we had promised Kenyans that instead of subsidizing consumption, we will subsidize production. That is means that instead of us subsidizing at the consumption, like the issue we were facing of shortage of food, we were first supposed to subsidize production. One, in 2022, when UDA party took over power, fertilizer bag was 7,000. We subsidized fertilizer to 2,500.
The same fertilizer that was
now
rocks and
we
stuff.
fertilize.
Rocks and
That's a different one.
Do the rocks
the rocks is a different fertilizer. I'm very sorry. I'm really sorry.
And the donkey down, that came later.
That came later, so it was not the promise. I do apologize. I'm really sorry. Please.
The subsidized, the one he's speaking of, it was subsidized. There were no rocks and there were no
Oh, okay,
things in
that
it.
particular one. So,
Yes.
okay, I beg your pardon. All right.
Through that process, we managed to register farmers on an e-platform.
Hiyo ni UDA ama hiyo ni serikali?
Now,
No, is
the
there a difference?
promise, the manifesto of UDA, or our promise when we were looking for, when we were going to look for the mandate from Kenyans, we promised that we will subsidize at production, not at consumption. How do you subsidize at production? What had
Fertilizer and seeds
yes,
and water
and we did that.
and farming and farm machinery.
It's called farm input.
Farm input. Yeah.
Even machinery.
So those are the two
Atajembe.
promises.
Okay, those are two
inputs.
promises that so we're saying essentially the UDA party
Yes.
said they were going to do this, and as a
Yes.
result of these things, now these things actually happen from what you're saying. I was of the opinion that there's an ideology that a party is based on, and this ideology will see through over and above, all these other things. Would you say that today the UDA party is built and following an ideology, and if so, what is that? What is the ideology of the UDA party? Or even if there are several marrying ideologies, what are those?
UDA party was formed on the ideal of bringing everybody together.
Unity.
Unity.
Okay.
UDA was formed on the ideal of empowering the common mwananchi. UDA was built on the ideal of ending something we call politics of deceit.
I'm sorry.
Because you know our journey.
Yeah.
You know our journey. We were in Jubilee. We went to...
Joe, me, I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
Because my friend. Hey! Right, go on, please. Yes. All right.
Okay. That's one of the ideals.
Yes.
That's
Ending politics of deceit in this country.
Unity, empowering common mwananchi, and then ending the politics of deceit. N'est-ce pas? All right. How would you say, with the recent activities, that just these three ideologies upon which the UDA party is founded, as you've said, how would we see that these things have actually played out? Let's even for fun go with the last one of ending the politics of deceit.
You see, our journey, when we were in Jubilee, we were branded Tanga Tanga. Then there was a purge within UDA, within Jubilee, where certain individuals were targeted because they belong in a different persuasion. They were removed from the leadership positions. Some people were being arrested left, right, and center. Everything that was going on. There was a political agreement then within Jubilee, which was not followed. So, in learning from our journey, we had to form a political vehicle that had to end that habit, the habit that has been developing this country for a very long period within the political movement. We formed UDA. UDA formed an alliance called Kenya Kwanza Alliance. That alliance had agreements with different political parties. And I can assure you, those agreements up to today, they are being followed. The agreements that we had with other political parties, up to today, they are being followed. That's why Musalia Mudavadi of ANC party is the prime cabinet secretary. That's why the Speaker of Parliament, Wetangula, is the Speaker. That's why Justin Muturi is in the cabinet. That's why former, yes, that's why
Amason
the Speaker,
Kingi.
Kingi, is.
Because UDA keeps its word.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Is that the same reason why Mbadi is now Minister for
The Treasury is.
And the same reason why
Opio Wanda is the CS Energy.
Same logic.
Because of the current status we are facing in this country in terms of to bring political stability. That's why.
Let me ask, what in your opinion, because if you talk about stability being brought, there is the implication that there was instability.
Yes.
So what possibly could have caused that instability?
You see, we had genuine reasons why people agitated for change and why people demonstrated. And there are also other political reasons, undercurrent political reasons, why there were those push for change. And I've said it somewhere else. The issues we are facing in the country, or who are facing in the country, needed to be separated. The genuine reasons that the Gen Zs had about having a voice in their economic and political policies have to be separated from the political blackmail and conmanship that some people were advancing.
You are saying that there's a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
So what the Gen Z were agitating and what political conmanship was taking place, which one was more?
The more was the Gen Z.
Okay.
Yes.
So if the UDA was set out to unite the country, to end political of deceit, and to do what?
Unify the country, empowering common
empower
Mwananchi.
Mwananchi. Do you think the Gen Z is coming out and being supported by the others, the alphas, the X's, the baby boomers, and everybody else, was actually the country telling UDA that one of these things has not worked? That this thing of unifying is not working. And the number two, the agenda of empowering the common Mwananchi has not worked.
The defining challenge that we have as a country is creating a solid and sustained economic growth that can continuously improve the lives of Kenyans. It is within our right, it is our constitutional right under Article 37 to demonstrate, to picket, and present a petition peacefully and unarmed. The genuine reasons that Gen Zs were raising, which was basically good governance and accountability, it was within their constitutional right.
Was it a message to UDA that what you set out to do, you have not taken that direction, and that's why we are coming out to tell you? Do you think the Gen Z were basically telling UDA, you promised and you have not delivered?
Basically, what the young people, not even the young people, because
What
it is
Kenyans?
a problem that face all Kenyans. Kenyans were simply saying that these are our issues, they need to be sorted, and if you have sorted them out, we haven't seen them being sorted.
So you've not?
You see, accountability is not something that you can achieve
In 2.5 years.
in 2.5 years.
Neither
Governance
is it-
accountability is
Neither is it
not
something you can hide if you've actually achieved
Achieved
it, right? So if Kenyans have seen that this accountability has been achieved, why would they come out and say, hold on, something is wrong here? And I can ask you this because from the onset of this conversation, you were clear that UDA was at the forefront of setting some of these things in motion. In fact, by your own admission, you named three things: unity, empowering the Mwananchi, and ending this politics of deceit. And if we want to look at the issues that people brought out during protests, they hinge on those three things, if not more, right? So we can now bring back the question to UDA's doorstep. Now, if UDA had been doing 1, 2, 3, as you've said, the leading party of the coalition, they've done 1, 2, 3, then by all means, people can come back and ask you, then why should we have to look for something so hard and we cannot find it, then perhaps it is true that the protests were a direct question to UDA about, you said you were going to do 1, 2, 3, you did not do 1, 2, 3, so we're holding you accountable.
Yes.
UDA should answer. No?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the answer?
The basic way in a political process or in a democracy, when you are held accountable as a political party, you need to say, these are the promises, this is what we have done, this is what we have achieved, this is what we have failed here and there, and this is what we are rectifying. But the perfect way which we, the people of this country, gave ourselves is after every 5 years.
No. Nope.
Sorry.
It can be any time.
Even today.
Accountability is throughout.
Accountability is throughout.
Yes.
But now,
And removal of non-performance is throughout.
Because this removal is pegged on accountability or the lack of it thereof.
This thing of telling us that in Ngoja 5 years, who said you wait for 5 years? Why?
No. You are elected to provide a service, and the term of office is supposed to be 5 years. It doesn't mean that you must be there for 5 years. That's
Neither
just the
does it
term
mean
of-
that it's after 5 years.
Yes,
you last see what
the
have you done.
employer has a right to recall. There's a recall clause.
yes,
Eh,
there's a recall clause
yes.
for recalling non-performance or non-performers. Now, our constitution, which we so loved, and we gave ourselves, that the best way to form a government and the correct way to form a government is the way the Constitution dictates. Accountability, the way we have all agreed, is a continuous process. It does not start or end somewhere. It is a continuous process. What we are doing is national building. Everybody has a role in national building. Every citizen has a duty to ensure that we build a country. And we all agree the issues that are being raised by the people are the same issues and the same promises that we made to Kenyans. But now Kenyans are calling us to account for the promises and what we have achieved.
Yes.
We have
understand that point.
achieved 1, 2, 3 things. There are those ones which we have not yet achieved. What I'm simply saying is that with time, we will reach there.
We give you time. Okay. Joe Halende is the chair of the UDA Founders Association. He's an advocate of the High Court. He's been our guest. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Situation Room today. Have a lovely one. See you again tomorrow.